Diabetes is a chronic metabolic disease characterized by elevated levels of blood glucose and sugar, which leads over time to serious damage to the heart, blood vessels, eyes, kidneys, and nerves. There are growing concerns about the health and economic threat posed by this disease globally. In Nigeria, more than 50% of people living with the disease are oblivious to it, especially where poor healthcare, unhealthy diet, sedentary lifestyle, and poverty persist. Now that Ramadan is around the corner, there are growing concerns about how best the people with diabetes could manage the disease while fasting. As a diabetic patient, if you choose to fast during Ramadan, should your doctor or diabetes care team recommend the type of food that you must use to break the fast? How do you actually manage diabetes during Ramadan? What should diabetics eat or diabetic patients eat during Ramadan? Is it even okay for a diabetic patient to fast in the first place? Well, I guess I'll be giving answers to some of these questions after this time out as we discuss the topic Ramadan, managing diabetes. Welcome to the program. I am Victoria Clinton. Joining me to provide more insights on Ramadan and how to manage diabetes is Zainab Shuaibu Imam, Assistant Chief Nutritionist and Dietitian at Sokoro District Hospital, Sokoro, Abuja. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Also joining in the conversation is Hajia Aisha Bukar Ali, founder and coordinator, Diabetes Help and Enlightenment Organization, DHEO. Good to have you with us on the program.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
I'll start with you, Zainab. A lot of persons have misconception about this, although we've touched a little bit about diabetes. But tell us elaborately, what is diabetes?
Diabetes is an inborn error of metabolism. That is the shortest way to put it. It is a situation whereby insulin that is being produced by the pancreas is less or is not producing at all due to some metabolic functioning.
Okay, so that's now. How can one know that he has this problem? Because oftentimes, just like I told you, a lot of persons don't know they have these issues.
Exactly.
A lot of persons are living with it, just like we said during the introduction. A lot of people are living with it. They don't even know they have it.
Exactly.
You know, before they even get to finding out, it is late. So how do you know you are diabetic?
Okay. First and foremost, the basic thing one should observe to perhaps feel that there's something wrong is to be aware of the symptoms. There are symptoms that shows, which particularly if you noticed, probably out of 8 symptoms, and you notice you have at least 4 or 5 of them, it's good to say, there must be something wrong, and get to see your doctor. So the doctor will recommend you to go and do some lab tests.
So what are these symptoms?
Some of those symptoms includes even getting weak. After eating food, you get very weak and tired. You feel very sleepy. You don't want to move again. That's one symptom. Then you keep getting hungry all the time. You keep getting thirsty all the time. You keep drinking water, but you don't feel, quenching the thirst. Then you may notice loss of weight. Probably you are on the weight. Your weight is, it drastically shows you're losing weight. And then perhaps you get a wound or a cut somewhere and it doesn't heal at all or very slowly. So these are all some of the factors that you should be aware of. That once you notice those, you try to say, let me see my doctor, and just put down all the symptoms that you are feeling. And then the doctor, most likely, he might ask you to go to the lab and run some tests. And as a result of the findings, you will be confirmed whether you are diabetic or not.
Okay, let's go straight to the issue, the Ramadan. Now, Ramadan is around the corner. Of course, during the Ramadan, we know there's fasting and, all of that. Now, should a diabetic fast, given all the symptoms? You're already feeling hungry. Even when you're eating, you don't feel full. When you drink water, you're still thirsty. So, and during the fasting period, you don't drink water, you don't eat for a period of time. So should a diabetic, or can a diabetic fast during Ramadan?
Of course, a diabetic can fast during Ramadan, but there are cases that are so exemptional. Like if it's also obvious those symptoms manifest, definitely they can even exempt you from fasting. And in some cases, maybe it's not newly diagnosed. They've been living with the diabetes to the extent that they master their body, how their body functions. They can fast during the Ramadan. Besides, you are not fasting 24 hours. You are fasting only for a period of 10 hours to 12 hours. In ordinary cases, we even recommend intermittent fasting in order to curb the issue of diabetes. But in such cases where you need to fast that period, you still have 10 hours to eat. How do you eat now? It's when you eat small portion of food but frequent time.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, he talks about eating. Of course, some persons with diabetes can eat, can fast during the Ramadan, of course.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that before, I know, during the Ramadan, you take 3 dates.
Yes.
At iftar.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So, and date, I know, is very sweet.
Yes.
Can a diabetic eat dates?
Okay. In the first instance, like if you are a non-diabetic, this is what our NGO, Diabetes Help and Enlightenment Organization, is advocating or creating awareness for people at this material time. Like it's very likely like tomorrow we may start our Ramadan fasting. So you are strongly advised that you go for pre-assessment of your condition. With that, it means that you will be assessed on how are you managing your diabetes at the present state. Are you running lows or highs, hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia? That your doctor will confirm to you. And then it means there's need for adjustment of your medications. Probably you are taking medications just before every meal, 3 times a day if you eat 3 times, or 4 times a day if you eat 4 times, or probably just morning and evening. So this time around, you need some adjustment of this pattern, treatment plan, that should be given to you by your doctor. So that at the time, coming back to the issue you have raised of breaking your iftar, breaking your fast during the iftar, the eating of dates is most recommended by the Sunnah. It's most recommended. But it doesn't mean that you can have a bowl of dates and you start just eating it because you love it and it's said that it's part of the
It's
Sunnah.
very tempting.
Exactly, it's quite tempting. But in any case, just taking 1 piece of date is enough, and you have answered or you have attended to the Sunnah you want to portray.
Okay.
So just take 1 piece of date and it's enough for you to go on to take maybe some warm water and so on to break your fast. But like she rightly pointed out earlier, you need to be considerate of the portion of your food. And then you have to space it out, because you have like the next 10 hours from, let's say, 7 o'clock by the time you break your fast till the dawn. So you could space out your eating pattern so that you don't overeat, fool yourself, feel very weak, and then, get sugar high.
Okay. And I know, like I rightly mentioned the date, I know it has a spiritual connotation.
Yeah.
And I know also the Ramadan has a spiritual benefit.
Yes.
So tell us more about it.
The spiritual benefit?
Yes.
It's a time of connection. You connect spiritually. It's a time that whatever you do in form of supplication is being multiplied. It comes to you in multiples. And it's a time you even get healthful. Your body system actually become healthful because you are connecting with your body. That intermittent time that you are keeping yourself away from food, water, actually adjust a lot of things in the system. So it's a supplication time, and it's a time you get connected.
Yeah.
It's a time you even understand your meal pattern very well. It is time that you can even access and eliminate certain food or reintroduce certain food.
Thank you very much. Now,
Yes.
tell us more about okay, she's talked about the spiritual benefit. Now, tell us about the physical benefit, because I know fasting in itself has some benefits.
Yes, of course. You could consider fasting as like a purification. You can consider fasting as a detoxifying period.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's a time that you give the body system in you some rest to take up, you know, in anything like a human, you have a busy day. After resting, what comes? You get more energy, more relaxed, and more alert. So exactly that's what fasting does. So except that when you are diabetic and you don't mind to know your condition at every stage, then there will be a problem and you have to be cautious. For instance, if you are fasting, you have to have that opportunity of glucometer and your strips with you, being you know you are diabetic for long. Although we all know that these are very expensive and not every diabetic patient can access it or have the opportunity to have a glucometer with some strips with you. But supposing you have it, which is very even necessary and paramount, which we always advocate for the government to give that support or subsidize for people to have access to that, because it's very vital in the treatment of diabetic or managing diabetes probably. So at that material time, you may end up doing your blood sugar test at least 3 times after from your breaking the fast, or probably even during the day. If you feel you are getting very weak, your eyes, you are getting some blood vision, you are very tired and sleepy, probably there's hypoglycemia. Because as a diabetic patient, the sugar can fall, like it gets low. And when it is too low, it is really bad. When it is too high, which is hyperglycemia, it is equally bad. So you have to understand your own body. You have to understand when these symptoms are showing so that you intervene. And even if you have intended to fast and then you find out the sugar is very low, automatically you can break that fast, and it's acceptable in Islam. Because if you are sick, you are exempted. You could now compensate or pay for that with certain rules that are given, which could take care of it. You don't necessarily do it, the oral fasting. So for that reason, you have to understand your body so that it doesn't get too low, and then that could be very dangerous. You may be very tired and sleeping, and you may sleep up, and it could be very fatal. So you have to know.
Either way, you just have to be very careful to balance
exactly.
it. Yeah. So, Zainab, you know, you mentioned earlier on that people with diabetes can fast. Having mastered your body and how it works, you know how to manage it. So, what kinds of food should a diabetes eat during Ramadan?
The general guideline we give actually is the basic. We don't impose certain food on people considering their constraint. We improvise. That is why we do a lot of talking with our clients. We ask you, we do some dietary recall, and then we understand the pattern of food you eat. We even ask you, what is your strength? What do you have at home? Can you actually, you know, access this or that? If they cannot, we use what they have. The only thing we do, we try to complement it to make it adequate and balanced for them. That's what we do. So the general guideline is for them to refrain away from all fries.
Okay.
We don't allow fried food because fat and oil have more calorie than even the carbohydrate and protein people generally think is actually bad for them. We tell them to eat moderately. Whatever you put on the table, like she said, you can start with just a date. You fasted a period of time. You need some energy at that material time. So dates, a single date can provide you energy you can utilize at that time. Then you can take warm water It can be water, it can be something that is natural, not flimsy drinks, not refined drinks, like all these soft drinks. No, it can be drink from vegetable and fruits. Just a glass or half a glass under room temperature is enough to replenish you and to give you some electrolytes to move on. There are some of supplication you can do immediately, some can hold on. So you can go in for that supplication. When you come out, you start introducing the food you have at that time slowly. We advise you to eat small, let it be. Later on you feel hungry, or we give you period of time like 1 hour to 2 hours, eat something small again. You know, we keep on doing it, and then we give you time to rest. Then early in the morning, when we take our early morning food for sahur, then you can even also like take it twice. You can start early, 3 o'clock you eat something small, 4 o'clock you eat something small, and then you stop. And then you continue. The aim is that eat something small, but still it's quantitative and qualitative enough to replenish the body, to give it the required nutrients the body needs. Alongside, we don't want you to have malnutrition to settle. That is why we always check and make sure the food is balanced and adequate enough to supply those nutrients.
Yes, because thank God you said that you don't want malnutrition to settle.
Yes.
Because a lot of times they will tell you, don't eat this, don't eat that, don't eat that, don't eat this, and you get confused. What exactly am I supposed to eat?
There's a general guideline for do's and don'ts.
Okay.
Like I said, fried food, refined products.
When you say refined product, what do you mean?
Any product that is processed.
Wow, that's
over processed, yes. Okay. Like even our local grains, if you process it to remove the bran from the it's processed already.
Okay.
Yes.
So you go more natural.
Not natural. When you take things like cereals and grain whole. We advocate for wholesomeness of food. Like fruit, take it whole. It's better than you juicing it.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Because if you separate those, bran from the food, it's not just fiber. The fiber is it's the larger, basic non-nutritive elements. But there are others. Phytochemicals are there. The body needs it. Flavonoids, they are there. It's good for diabetic. Anti-insulinic properties are all in that. So separating them is like you're losing everything and you're taking the starchy part of the food. So we advocate for wholesomeness. Do not over-process it to make it smooth or soft. No, take it rough. The rough, the better.
So as a diabetic, can you take chocolates?
No, in some cases where I can take dark chocolate, you cannot actually, because it's over-processed. It's processed and it's so convenient. It's energy dense. You cannot eat them.
It can be frustrating.
It can be. It can be actually, but notwithstanding, there are other natural, abundant foods, food to eat. Yeah. You know, we said diabetes is a food of color.
Okay.
You know, mix colors, mix a lot of colors, and take, because the property will benefit you.
No. Let me find
just
out
save you.
Okay.
Okay. You are just asking a question that can you take chocolate? Okay, you shouldn't take chocolate like what she has explained, but probably you run low sugar. You are desperate by then.
Yeah. Okay.
Perhaps you don't have a orange juice around or a Fanta. You see how Fanta is like almost forbidden because of the content of sugar in it.
And other
but it becomes relevant, it becomes necessary for somebody to intervene and even give you that sugary thing. And if you are, craving for chocolate, just take that opportunity to eat that chocolate at that moment. And you enjoy it for that moment.
If you are conscious, actually,
you enjoy it
so conscious. If you are so conscious at that time.
Okay, can a diabetic patient eat all fruits, all kinds of fruit, or are there fruits that you cannot eat?
Well, each fruit have its own distinct property.
Okay.
We don't actually restrict people. The only thing we said, moderate what you eat. There is a quantity you eat that won't have any effect on you. Some diabetic have other complications like hypertension. Now, banana, pineapple, and certain fruits are good because of their excess content of potassium and other, nutrients that are beneficial to your BP. So we don't restrict people. even if you don't have BP, we know the benefit of banana. But eating more than certain portion, like eating one piece of banana or two, might have a negative effect on you. Banana has starch. It has almost 3 types of sugar altogether in it. So if you try to eat more than the required portion, it might develop another problem for you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, I understand that even as a diabetic patient, there are some exercises that you cannot, indulge in, involve yourself in. So, what kinds of exercises can a diabetic patient, take?
Okay.
That will not affect your health.
Exactly.
Okay.
Generally, for diabetic patients, exercise is encouraged, generally. But every individual has his own peculiarity.
Yeah,
like she said about the meal. So,
okay.
Yeah. So.
Thank you very much. I have to stop you here because we're about to have a live program. That's it on Nigeria Today. Very big thank you to our guest, Zainab Shuaibu Imam, Assistant Chief Nutritionist and Dietitian at Sokoro District Hospital, Sokoro, Abuja. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you.
And also Hajia Aisha Bukar Ali, founder and coordinator of the Diabetes and Enlightenment Organization, DHEO. Thank you for your time and insights.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you.
Pleasure having
and to you, our viewer, it's always been a pleasure having you there. And don't forget Nigeria Today, today weekdays at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can watch this and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I'm Eukaria Clinton. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.